Okay, we're recording. So welcome to the Real Chatter podcast. So happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thrilled.
No. Oh my gosh, so excited to talk to you because I love the pits. It's so good.
I think everybody does. I
Yes.
think, yeah, I've had everyone I know has been talking about it and saying what a great show it is. And I have to say, I think it is. And I'm so thrilled for all of them because I know how hard they worked to put this thing together.
Right.
So it's pretty great. It's pretty
So how
great.
did you get involved with the pit?
Well, it was just a regular audition that I have from time to time. Now I'm older, not so many as when I was younger, but
Oh, now.
it just came through my agents and it's all self-taping now. So I just did that. I do it with a friend and that was kind of it. There was supposed to be a Zoom callback, I
Mhm.
think, but I think they were because they were just starting the first episode, I think, or in the middle of shooting the first episode, when this thing happened. They just didn't, I think they just didn't have the time. So they were like, we're just going to book it right off the tape. So that was perfect.
Yes.
Yeah,
Where did they shoot? Did they shoot in
they
Pittsburgh?
shoot in LA on the Warner Brothers lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have the whole, the whole hospital, spread there on two different stages. So it's a pretty big it's a big production.
Yeah, because it does feel like it's Pittsburgh. It feels so like real and like you're in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they did do some. I know they went after I shot, they were going to Pittsburgh for a week or so to do a lot of exterior shots. They had to do the
Mm,
helicopter on the roof,
mm.
and I think Noah walking around or doing something. So they did do some stuff there, but everything else is here.
Oh, so speaking of Noah, we're gonna have to ask, how was it working with him? That must have been
You
so
know what?
cool.
He could not be a nicer guy.
Mm,
Just I mean, honestly, because I've worked on so many sets, and you never really know. You go in as a
yeah.
guest star, and you never really know how the series regulars or the usual people are gonna treat you. Usually it's nice, but sometimes you're kind of like the redheaded stepchild,
Mhm.
you know. But I have to say, I mean, I walked on set the first day, and he came right up to me and gave me a huge hug and said, "Oh my gosh, Rebecca, we're so happy to have you here."
Oh, that's so nice.
I mean, and that just set the tone. And I have to say, that set everybody um is just so happy to be there. And in my experience, the tone of the set comes from the top.
Yeah.
So you have, the producers and the series regulars and the directors who are all just like, all they want to do is just make this a good thing, and are, inclusive of everybody. It just makes such a difference.
Yeah.
And because I think he really wanted, or they really wanted this to be um, an ensemble show, because, we're all there a lot of the time, even if, the camera isn't actually on us, we might have been in the background or something. It's a really a group effort to make that environment real. So, but he was just so great. And honestly, the last episode I did, episode 4, he wrote,
Oh.
um, which was I thought was amazing. It's that long monologue I have, and I just thought that I just thought it was fantastic. But he could not. He was so fun to work with, and just so present in
Mm.
every moment, and just okay.
That's okay.
You sit down.
Aw.
But yeah, he was just lovely, just
Well,
lovely.
speaking of your monologue, because like we were talking before we started, I performer of the week. We gave it to you here at Je-Ree Reviews Media because I thought you just did. I'm gonna toot your horn. You did so well. I was like crying. I was like, this is
Oh,
so sad.
oh. Well,
Yeah,
thank you. That means a lot because when you're in it, you don't really know how it's coming across,
yeah.
especially something like that, because I mean, I'm not the kind of actor that can kind of pretend,
Mhm.
or fake it, I guess. So it has to be really real to me.
Yeah.
And so it was, and it was hard, but I'm so glad because again, you kind of don't know how it's going to read.
Yeah. Well,
And I don't
I'm
like to
telling
think
you, it
about
was great. It was
Well,
great. I'm
thank
telling you. Yes.
thank
So
you
how
so
do
much.
you get in the like, I don't know if actors like this question, but it's like, how do you get in the headspace of like going in and doing something so like heavy?
Yeah, emotional.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, losing a parent is something that, most of us are going to go through in our life.
Hmm.
And I've lost both my parents. My mother died when she was 46 and I was 24, and then my father died much later. But and I had, because they both died of cancer, I had some time to kind of come to terms with it, even though, or to, sort of get ready for it, even though I don't think, honestly, I don't think it matters how it happens. You're just not ready for it. So I had a lot to draw on, is what I'm
Hmm.
trying to get at here. But so I really just put myself in that situation. But I have to say, I just carried that with me for the whole 5 weeks we were shooting, because I was thinking about it a lot and working on it a lot, and just really bringing up all that stuff that happens to you when you're, in that kind of situation of like, first of all, how is this happening? I thought that, we'll go to the hospital and he'll be fine. And
Hmm.
having to come to terms with the fact that actually he's not going to be fine and he's going to die. And she has to do that in 3 hours,
Yeah.
is really intense.
Yeah.
Um, so, I just sit with all those really sad feelings. Just like,
I understand. I lost my mother when I was 6 and my father when I was 8. So
oh
I
my gosh.
understand. Yeah. Yeah. They
Oh,
they
whoa.
were sick too. I openly talk about it. The people that know
Yeah.
me, they had AIDS. And my
Both of
father got it, gave it to my mother. She died first and he died. So yeah.
them.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
understand that. Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah, it's brutal. It is
Hmm.
brutal. And I think I'm the oldest of four girls.
Oh.
My parents, when my mother died, and my parents had been divorced. And so I just felt like really like kind of just out there, like
Hmm.
I don't have anybody here to help me navigate this, really, you
Hmm.
know and I had to worry about my sisters and all that stuff. And and the doctors coming to me at 24 years old and saying, well, there's nothing else we can do, and just being like, I mean, it was just devastating. It's
Yeah.
devastating.
So you
um
understood what she was going through. Yeah, of course.
yes. And
Hmm.
and then this character also has a pretty complicated um relationship with her father. There's a lot of stuff I think that's unresolved, unlike the brother, who I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good. Um, and so all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I have to say these things, or I have to figure out how to resolve things with him in an hour or right now, right? As he's
Right.
doing, he's not responding. So she's just hoping that he's hearing her, but it is, you know, it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, I feel very fortunate that I felt like I was okay with both my parents when they died, especially my
Mhm.
mom. But for people that are not, and then they're, thrust in that situation, I think it's really difficult.
It
You know,
is. Well, I have to
really.
admit, at first I was upset with with your character because during my day job, I am a paralegal and I just so happen to work with like estate planning, wills, van
Oh,
directives and things. And when you were like, "Oh, we're going to go
yep.
against his wishes," I was like, "You can't do that."
Yep. I've had so many friends text me after that first episode and go, she should not be doing that.
Yeah.
And I agree totally. But because yes, of course, a DNR should be,
Mhm.
rock solid, but as you know, it's not always. And the
Yeah.
family steps in, and all of a sudden the doctors are like, mm. And but it's one thing to be like, okay, I get that, I understand that, because I mean, I certainly have one for myself.
Mhm.
Um, and I certainly hope that it would be, it would be,
Follow. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I've made it very clear to my sisters that if, the time comes, it's like I want to be unplugged.
Yeah.
Um, but easier said than done, because I think that in those situations, I mean, hope is such a strong emotion that humans have. And I think even though you rationally know that like there's nothing you can do in this situation, I mean, even when my mother was, she was in a coma before she died, and there was there was nothing that was going to save her. I think there was still a part of me that thought, oh, something is going to happen and she's going
Yeah.
to wake up and she's going to be okay.
Mm,
You know?
yeah.
So I think that's part of it. And then also this woman, this character, I think she's a woman who's used to being in control.
Mm,
Um, she's the oldest and she's just like, and then all of a sudden someone's saying, yeah, no, you're not in control. And I think that's a whole nother thing that she has to kind of deal with
yeah.
and out, right?
Yeah.
So no, I agree. The DNR, I know. Because what they do with, intubating and I'm sure
Mm,
that is not a good thing.
no. And I mean, like your character made up for it with, in the end, but I was just like, oh, girl, he doesn't
I
want
know,
it. Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
But I
I
get it.
agree.
It's a very hard decision. And I like the backstory that they gave the your dad with him working and children's
Yeah.
programming and they were in the children's room. I just thought it was all very well done.
Yeah, and then of course the children's room is where Noah's character had to unplug his mentor
Yes.
to
Yes.
some room because
Hmm.
so there's that too for him to be in that room in almost an identical situation.
Right.
I love the way they kind of do that, like a little bit, bringing in the whole COVID thing because I
Right.
know that they really wanted to, pay tribute to the doctors and nurses during that
Mhm.
time, some way in the show. And I think that's really great. So I love
Um,
that too.
have you seen some of the responses? How some medical professionals are saying the show is like the most realistic medical drama
Oh, I haven't
on
seen
TV?
that. Oh, is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So you
Oh,
doing great. Will you be back, or can you say or no?
I don't think so unless I
Okay.
come back with something wrong with me
Yeah.
because,
Okay.
or the brother,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Well,
all
it's
hope
done. We won't see
something
you
would
like in a
happen.
church. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I said, couldn't I come back as a doctor? I could be a
Yeah.
doctor. Yeah, exactly.
So how did you shoot that? Because I was saying once, I was like, it just feels like one continuous shot each episode, which is of course what it's meant to be, but
Right, right. Well, we did, there were 2 or 3 scenes a week, so we were over 5 weeks, because each episode takes 8 or 9 days. Um, but what was great too is it was done in order,
hmm,
so that because sometimes it's not. So let's say, I go in the first day and they're like, "You're going to do the monologue today," and I'm just like, because you want to be able to get, it's an arc that
hmm,
those 3 hours, right? So it was really great to be able to just shoot that in sequence so that I could get to that part, of the last, all
yeah.
of us get to that part of the last episode there. So, um, but it's very, it's funny. Someone asked me if it felt, because it's so, the whole trauma center ER is so kind of frenetic. I mean, there's
Hmm.
so many things happening all the time, right? And someone asked me if it felt that way when I was shooting those scenes, and I said, really not at all, because I think when you're in that situation, and this is true for any of us who have been, at a hospital or whatever, you're kind of in a bubble, you're in that space with your person, your
Yeah.
patient, whoever it is, and you're not aware, really of what else is going on. So it felt very kind of, you know, it felt like it was happening in real time.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would think with all the other scenes being shot and all the noise and all that
Right.
going,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what can we see you on next now that you've wrapped the pit?
Oh, so I worked on in December, I worked on an episode of a new Ryan Murphy show. It's one of his monster
Oh, one of the
series,
monsters. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So this one is about Ed Gein,
Hmm.
who is a serial killer,
Yes.
known for his enjoyment of necrophilia.
Mhm.
Um, so I had kind of a fun role in that. So
Oh,
that'll so
we're
I don't know
gonna,
when that's happening, but maybe the spring. I'm not sure.
okay, we'll be on the lookout for that. We've covered the other monster shows.
Yeah. Oh,
That'll be
cool.
interesting. Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, Je-Ree,
Fun.
thank you. It was so fun to talk to you.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much. So we'll be on the
Okay,
lookout, and I'm gonna go rewatch the pit.
cool. All
Yes.
right.
All
Thank you so
right.
much.
Thank you. Take
Bye.
care.
You too. Bye.